Hi everyone. Today we are going to deal with William Shakespeare's Sonnet 55, which is called Not Marble Nor the Gilded Monuments, as the first line of the sonnet suggests. Before we go deeply in analyzing the sonnet and commenting on the lines of the sonnet, it is preferable to read the sonnet. In this sonnet, Shakespeare says, "Not marble, nor the gilded monuments of a princess shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besomered with sluggish time, when wasteful war shall statues overturn, and broils root out the work of misery, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory gainst death, and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth your praise shall still find room even in the eyes of all posterity, that wear this world out to the ending doom, so till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes." Okay, this is the sonnet as it appears here. Okay. Well, Sonnet 55 builds up on Horace's theme of poetry outlasting physical monuments to the dead, that is, according to the model of Horace, the poet. William Shakespeare imitated the same theme that is revealed by Horace. That model, or that, let us say, this poetic purpose reveals the theme of poetry outlasting physical monuments to the dead, to immortalize poetry. The subject of poetry is immortalized. Poetry as a subject is immortalized more than the physical or the abstract things in life. Okay, in Horace's poetry, the poet is himself immortalized by his poetry, and that is what is done. By Shakespeare also in this sonnet. But in this sonnet, Shakespeare seeks to build a figurative moment to his beloved. And he is going, and we are going to see, of course, throughout the details of, the lines of this sonnet, we are going to see that the beloved, or the addressed person again, is immortalized through poetry, and poetry will be immortalized in more than the concrete things, the objects that may be possessed by the princes or the kings. I mean the royal families at that time. The fair lord is not described or revealed is any way in this sonnet. Instead, the sonnet just addresses the idea of immortality through verse. In other words, Shakespeare refers to his beloved, the person that he would like to address implicitly, that is, okay, indirectly. But instead, we have the reference to the idea of immortality through verse. That is the immortality of verse and the immortality of poetry. The ravages of time is a recurrent theme in the sonnet of Shakespeare. This theme, the ravages of time, is that is revealed frequently in the sonnets of Shakespeare. So Sonnet 55 is one of the most famous works of Shakespeare and a notable deviation from other sonnets in which he appears insecure about the relationship and his self-worth. Here we find an impassioned burst of confidence as the poet claims to have the power to keep his friend's memory alive ever more. That is, he would like, and his goal is to immortalize his friend or his friend's memory as it is immortalized, as the sonnet itself immortalized, of course. The lines 1 to 4, that is, not marble, nor the gilded monuments of a princess shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besimmered with the sluttish time. These are the lines. Okay. The line, this is number 1, not marble, nor the gilded monuments of a princess shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besimmered with a sluttish time. This is the first stanza or the first quatrain in the sonnet, and in this quatrain or in this stanza, the poet talks about how time will not destroy the poem. This is the first step towards immortalizing the sonnet, that time will never be an effective factor on or upon poetry. Time will not destroy the poem, though it will destroy the world's most magnificent structures. The structures, the constructed things will be vanished, will be destroyed before this, will be damaged because of the affection of time. But the poem, this sonnet, is going to be immortalized. It is going to be immortal. He wishes to say that poetry is stronger than these structures. At the very beginning, the poet says that whether it is marble or gold-plated monuments of a princess, you know that the marble things or the palaces, the huge buildings and gold, the other possessions are concrete things, can be destroyed, can be lost one day. But poetry will be immortal, and all will get destroyed, but the magnificence of his poetry will live. And this is the main theme of this poem. The subject of poetry will remain bright and will shine forever in comparison to a neglected stone monument which is spoiled with time. All these, if they considered as valuable, expensive, precious, things will be neglected, will be lost with time. But poetry, his poetry and poetry in general, will be immortal year by year, century by century, race by race. So in this case, poetry is immortal, while the other expensive and rare things will be what? Will be lost. Okay. Time is compared to a bad woman who loses her glow and beauty with time. Shakespeare compares time unfavorably to a female subject. He resembles time to a bad woman that loses or who loses her glow, her brightness, her beauty with time. While he praises, of course, he praises poetry, and he considers poetry as what? As immortal and that lives forever. When wasteful war shall statues overturn and broils root out the work of misery, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall bar the living record of your memory. Okay. And this, and these lines, these lines begin with a new idea. What is it? Shakespeare has so far spoken of two destructive forces, time and war. In the previous quatrain, or in the previous stanza, he compares the concrete things, the possessions of the princes and kings and the royal families with the poetry. And he considers that the possessions of the royal families, the kings and the princes, as mortal things that can be lost one day, and poetry is immortal because it lives forever. While here we have, in these lines, we have the emphasis on the role of two destructive forces, time and war. Both of them are destructive and can destroy everything. He is here describing war, destroying stone structures, which relates back to the marble and gilded monuments in line 1, that likewise do not last. The poet says that when destructive wars will take place, they will destroy statues also, and due to its tumult, all the work of the masons will be destroyed. He is talking about, or he talks here about wars. They destroy the statues, the palaces, the gold things or the golden things that are possessed by the kings. If they lost the battle, and he refers metaphorically to Mars, because Mars is the god of war. Even the sword of Mars, god of war, or the destructive fires of war will be able to destroy your memory. All the things that are considered as documented or they represent the documentary of certain royal family. They will be destroyed because of the wars. The statues may be broken by the conquerors, the victorious, who will win the battle. They will destroy the statues. So in this case, these statues are not immortal, but mortal. They may be broken and they may be forgotten because of such a deed. Okay. While poetry is is immortal. The poet is basically saying that even wars will not destroy the written memories of your life, for they will survive even after deadly wars. Even if the wars, if the wars have been, if the wars have been documented in the books of history, they are documented. But what about the concrete things, the statues or whatsoever? They will be vanished with time, and the memory will survive, and the written memories of your life, for they will survive even after deadly wars. Even if people forgot about wars, they will remember what is written. And poetry, of course, is written. So it is the immortal here in this equation. Against death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth your praise, shall still find room, even in the eye of all posterity, that wear this world out to the ending doom. So still the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. This stanza does not talk about survival, but of human appreciation, another dimension that Shakespeare would like to go forward in. The poet continues to praise his subject, his poetry, that is. There is still a suggestion of survival, but survival of a human appreciation, and not of the verse itself. Human appreciation comes as parallel with the verse, with poetry. Doom refers to the judgment day, suggesting that this poetic record of this subject will survive and be praised to the end of time. So it is immortal. It will live, will survive till the judgment day, till the doom or the judgment day, will never die. It is immortal. So he praised poetry in this or in these lines. Slight deviation of the matter in the words, even in, creates emphasis for this permanency. The poet is saying that death and enmity destroys everything, but poetry written on the subject will survive. War and time may destroy or will destroy, and death, of course, will destroy everything, every concrete thing, except poetry. And except the people about whom poetry is written. The person about whom poetry is written will survive, will move ahead, find place, and will be immortalized for all generations to come. And this is, again, the main theme that Shakespeare would like to emphasize. He would like to immortalize his poetry, and through the immortality of poetry, he immortalizes the friend or the beloved or the person that he talks about. Everything else will be judged on the judgment day. So the end will be the judgment day for poetry, for Shakespeare's poetry, as he believes. And the person that he would like to immortalize through these lines, through these contents, as he reveals in line number 3. He considers his poetry as the content. Again, this is number 3. But you shall shine more bright in these contents. So he immortalizes the person that he would like to immortalize through these contents, through the lines of this sonnet. The ending couplet is a summary of the survival theme. He is going to summarize. The couplet not only summarizes the rest of the sonnet, but also seems to contradict itself. Judgment goes with the talk of the judgment day in the last stanza, but implies that the subject is alive, that the person that Shakespeare is talking about is alive, together with poetry. Poetry is also immortal and will alive and will be judged on that day. But dwelling in the lover's eyes suggests that the subject is love itself. So the lover, as well as poetry, is the same. He considers them as one, as two in one. That is the lover and poetry. Both of them will still alive till the judgment day. And here he uses personification, by the way. So till the judgment that yourself arise, he addresses both his lover or beloved and the sonnet that he is writing. You live in this. Again, this refers to this sonnet. You live in this. You, the person that he would like to address, and this is the sonnet. You live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. You will live in the eyes of the lover. Thus, Shakespeare seems to consider the subject so lovely that he is a personification of love. The person and love are considered as one entity, which could be conquered and to which no poetry can do justice. Even poetry is not fair, cannot cannot present justice, because even poetry can feel, in fact, can feel weak in front of them, in front of the, in front of him or her, the person that he is talking about. So the theme of the sonnet is that the subject will be honored forever in the verses. The person will be that he addresses will be included within the verse, within the poetry, within the sonnet. And this is an honor, according to Shakespeare. The subject will be honored forever in the verses, will be included forever in the verses or in the poetry, and in this case, this level as well as poetry will survive forever, and they are immortal. Though the verses are unworthy of them, still the verses are unworthy of them, are not enough. He concludes that in spite of being the content that includes the beauty and the perfectness of this person, but it is still, poetry itself is still imperfect, because it cannot be the model that Shakespeare thinks of. He considers poetry as immortal, and as a result, the person that he is talking about is immortal too, but he wishes that he can find another thing that is considered perfect rather than poetry itself. To be, to include this beautiful and perfect person. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.